The following program on PBS 39 is made possible in part by
Excellence lives here in northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
This is Arts Weekly. Arts Weekly is presented by the College of Visual and Performing Arts at IPFW, offering degrees in fine arts, music, theater, and visual communication and design. IPFW, the energy of the arts.
Welcome to this edition of Arts Weekly. On this program, we'll talk about just a few of the great holiday shows you can attend this season. I'm Melinda Haines with the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. In the second half of the show, we'll be joined by Brian Wagner of the Fort Wayne Arena Dinner Theater. But first, we'll chat with Joel Frumkin and Rich Najik of the new Huntington Theater and Supper Club. Welcome to Arts Weekly.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Glad that you're here. I first have got to say congratulations for your 2012 Business of the Year Award from Indiana Main Street.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's got to be a great honor.
Oh, we're very pleased.
And
yes.
so what does that award signify?
The Business of the Year Award for Main Street is for the business, for a business in a downtown Main Street area that's had a good impact on the downtown, or a great impact on the downtown for the state. So.
Well, that's got to feel good that you've made a big difference in the time that you've been there.
Yeah, it was very exciting and a huge surprise to us that we were nominated by people within the community and that we were chosen out of businesses all over the state. And it was really exciting that it was an arts business that got that was the one that they felt had the greatest impact on the community. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's a good pat on the shoulder that you're doing the right thing over there in Huntington. Now, the two of you have moved here from New York City. So what brought you to Huntington, Indiana?
Well, we were living in New York and working in theater there, and we wanted to find a place where we could have our own theater company. So we looked for about 3 years all over the country at different theaters, and it just so turned out that Huntington had a theater there, and it was the 12th building that we went to go and look at, and it all the pieces fell into place as far as the location and the building, and we thought that it would be a good place to start the company at.
So it just felt right when you found it.
I had never even been to Indiana, so it was a great big leap of faith. But we fell in love with the building. It's this beautiful 100-year-old vaudeville space. So, and it was the right match. And there wasn't a theater company, a professional theater company in the surrounding area, the nearby surrounding area, doing the kind of work we wanted to do and we're hoping to eventually do. So it seemed like a really good fit.
And so you've got to do some renovation on the building.
Oh,
what
yeah.
are you working on with that
now?
now?
When we got there, we had to do work everything, and we spent several years renovating so far. We've done a space that's a cabaret room space that we have. We have a full-service kitchen we've done, a full-service bar that we've done, housing for the actors that we've done, living space for ourselves, rehearsal rooms that we've all renovated, and we do all that work ourselves. And currently, we're working in the main auditorium, which is a 600-seat theater.
So that's got to be the biggest part of the
That's
project.
the biggest part of the
Absolutely.
project.
And unfortunately, it's the one you want to go to first, but it doesn't make any sense to do it first, because if you have a gigantic renovated theater that's all ready to go but nowhere for actors to live, there's no
Doesn't make much
point.
sense.
Well,
We kind of worked on spaces people don't see first.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that makes good sense to me.
And we do it all ourselves. I mean, all the renovations. That's why it's a long-term goal that it's done with a handful of volunteers. There's no giant wrecking crew running around with hard hats on. It's him and his 65-year-old mother and me and a handful of friends.
Oh, that's got to really feel good to be able to do it yourself and know that it's getting done the way that you wanted it to. So this holiday show that you have, the Supper Club Holiday Show, tell me about this show.
Me? What we try and do every year is we want it to be holiday themed. We want to, the focus is always on the music. we want it to have the nostalgia and sentimental appeal that shows should have at the holidays, but we also put a real emphasis on the fact that we know people get barraged by going to see things at, their high school and show choirs and things like that. And so we always try and make sure that the musical choices we pick, even if they're familiar favorites, have a really interesting twist to them. And we also try and pick things that are a little less known and musically surprising and comedic. But we won't just do Drummer Boy, for instance. We found an amazing R&B gospel rendition of like Little Drummer Boy, things like that. So it's a mixture of old and new and favorites, but I really think that there's something for every musical taste in it. Mm-hmm. And we also, the format of our shows, I sort of host and narrate them and give a potted history and fun trivia and tidbits about each song and where the history of the songs came from. So we say it's sort of like a Ken Burns documentary meets a cruise ship show. It's like if you stuck the two together, that's sort of what the audience can expect.
Oh, I think we have a little clip.
Great.
Let's go ahead and show that.
We call our shows A Little Naughty, A Lot Nice, and this is the little bit of the naughty.
Okay.
I'd like to find the guy who done me wrong and stuck my butt up on this Christmas tree. Who put the stump in my rumpa-bumpa-bum? Who took and jammed it in my rama-lama-ding-dong? Who stood the wood where I poop-she-poop-she-poop? Who put the stick up my hip-dee-dip-dee-dip? Who was that man? He shoved it in my can and left me stranded on this Christmas tree. Yeah! Then this angel bird, chop-ba-ba-bop-dee, chop-ba-bop-bop, a dreadful fear went right into my heart. Those pine tree needles sting me, ram-a-jam-a-ram-a-jamming in my ding-dong. You'll never know how much that's smart. So, who put the stump in my rumpa-bum-ba-bum? Who took and jammed it in my ram?
Well, that show is certainly a little bit different, isn't it? You're not going to see that everywhere.
It's a little bit different.
So we're not going to bring the kids necessarily. It's more of a date night show.
Yeah, a lot of people ask about bringing children, and I generally tell them that, 13 and over, but it's really more geared towards adults.
I've had the occasion where a 4-year-old has arrived without us knowing, and I've gotten the message, and I've run upstairs, and the actors and I have desperately run around trying to sort of reconfigure things so that we don't give a child permanent psychological trauma. But
So tell me about the performers who you have in the show. They're a small cast, but they're not from around here.
Oh no, it's only 3 or 4 people usually, and they come from New York. We go to New York to do the auditions generally, and generally they come from New York. I mean, sometimes we'll also audition people on Skype and see if people aren't in the city, and we get a lot of great people that way, because if someone's out on a tour or doing a job somewhere else and they can't be there for our auditions, we'll be able to see them over video in real life practically, and you get really great people because those are people that are already working.
we had about 300 audition for the Christmas show for only three slots, and then we choose the material once we find them, and then it gets sent to our musical director, who arranges everything specially. But it's a very particular job. We really emphasize that we need somebody with a music degree or a musical theater degree, because the emphasis is really on close harmony and advanced musicianship and versatility. When you're casting something like Lori in Oklahoma, you're casting somebody who has to sing one way and look one way, but for us, we have to have this huge range of vocal versatility. So this summer, for instance, we're going to need somebody who can sing Bluebirds Over the White Cliffs of Dover and then sing Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun and sound viable doing both kinds of material. So
very versatile performers.
It's a tough job.
Yeah, it would be. Now, this will be your 5th show, and you've got singing and narration.
Fifth
holiday
show. Right. Sorry about that.
That's
so,
okay.
and it is dinner and a show. This is not just a show. So, what are you going to feed everybody?
Well, at the holiday show, we feed them a holiday dinner, basically. When we have the shows throughout the year, the menu changes, but at Christmas time, we do a turkey dinner or a ham dinner, and we use my family recipe for raisin sauce for the ham, and then a sweet potato recipe from his mother, and that. So we use kind of family recipes for the meals. They're all made right in-house. We have a huge kitchen, commercial kitchen that we cook everything from, and so it's all fresh food every night and that, and it's a great meal.
It's an intimate venue. It's not a buffet. It's all plate service.
No, it's plate service.
But how many people have we had come through the?
Over 15,000
At this point,
I'm not sure the
which
exact
for a venue
number.
that seats 72 a night is pretty neat.
That is very exciting, and so the space is intimate, and you like to do cabaret style shows,
Yes.
right? Your other shows. Tell me a little bit about those as well.
During this, we do a couple things. During the summer, we'll do a season of 3 shows that run to a musical theme. So this coming summer, there's a show called Whistle While You War, which is a play on Whistle While You Work, that's music from various war times, World War II and Vietnam and protest songs. We're doing music of Neil Diamond. It's called I'm a Believer. And then we're also doing a show of 80s music, which our audiences have consistently since our first year said, can you do an 80s show? So we're finally doing an 80s show. And again, a huge range of different kinds of music from those periods and those styles. But we also do a series called Page on Stage, where it's a sort of a part of an outreach where I go to schools and do one-man performances of classics like A Christmas Carol, and I just did Sleepy Hollow yesterday. And we do those sometimes at Halloween as a show as well, and you know we're sort of treading water until we can get into our main big space and have the big sets and the big scenery and the big
How long do you
costumes.
think that'll be before you're, what's a realistic goal?
I always say before something falls on my head and kills me.
Yeah.
Because
We hope about a year and a half, though. We're really getting there.
Well,
The
and you've
progress
made-
is amazing.
You have made great progress in this time. So
And people can follow it on our blog.
Yes, people can follow on our blog. We actually have the blog that starts the day we left New York 5 years ago and chronicles everything through now, and it has photographs of everything and strange stories and such. And I mean, that's at countdowntocurtainup.com. So if people want to look at that, that's
that's
a
very
lot of
interesting to
stuff
be
there.
able to.
And it's
have
very irreverent. It's fun
chronicles
and
that.
silly and has pictures of us covered in tile grout and all kinds of things. So
And so your long-term goal then is to have the whole venue open and
Yes.
running shows. Well, you're already running shows year round,
but a 400-seat venue rather than a 72-seat
72.
venue, and a full musical theater space and classic straight plays as well.
right. So the holiday show. Tell me when and where.
It starts, the holiday show runs from November 28th through December 22nd, every night of the week except for Sundays. And it's at the theater in Huntington, and you can get tickets going to the website, which is huntingtonsupperclub.com, or you can call the box office, and I believe the number's there on the screen. It's 454-0603, and the box office is open now for that. And
our weekends sell quickly.
And the
so if you
weekends
want a
sell
weekend,
quickly.
jump
Get
on
your
it.
tickets. Well, terrific. Well, thank you so much for being here. This has been a lot of fun. It sounds like Huntington and the surrounding area is extremely fortunate to have such a great venue in its midst. As we get ready to meet our next guest, please take a minute to view our performance calendar of what's coming up in our area, and keep in mind that you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll be right back with Brian Wagner of the Arena Dinner Theater. With me now is Brian Wagner of the Fort Wayne Arena Dinner Theater. The Arena has had a great holiday show opening November 23rd. Brian, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So for those people who might not know, what is the Arena Dinner Theater?
Arena Dinner Theater has been in existence since about the mid-'70s. It started out as part of the Park Board when the park board pulled their funding, we went ahead and started our own theater.
I didn't know that the parks had anything to do with that.
Yes, well, we're going way back.
Way
but-
back.
Yeah, 1974.
74 is when it was actually founded. So you were down in your unique location there on Rock Hill.
Our current
right?
location, yes,
Yeah.
down in the West Central
And
neighborhood.
So you've been down there for quite a long time.
Since 1996 is when we
Okay.
first opened our first show there.
Because that's a very unique venue. I mean,
Yes, it is. It
a
actually used to be,
location.
well, it was the precursor to your department out at the university.
Oh, I'm just learning all kinds of new things.
It started out as the auditorium for the art school before the art school and the museum split, and the museum was founded down on Main Street, and then you started the visual arts department at IPFW.
Wow, there's just so much history going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So the Arena Dinner Theater has been very important to the Fort Wayne art scene for a long time here.
Yes.
You know, and what makes it so unique? I mean, I know it's a dinner theater, but there's
Right.
more to it than just that.
Well, we're a self-sustaining theater. We are run by a board of directors, as well as myself as the executive director. But it's an incredibly hard-working board of people. It's a 12-member board, and they do everything from build sets to direct shows to perform in them. So I can't tell you enough how important the board of directors is to the theater.
You really make them do their jobs down there.
Well, they do it very, very willingly.
Well, and you've been there for a long time.
I did my first show at Arena back in about 1979. I started out as a costumer for my first couple of shows, and then started performing there. And then as the executive director, I've only held that position since the first of the year, actually.
But you've seen an awful lot of changes then over the years.
Yes, I have. Arena started out in 1974 at the Chamber of Commerce in their ballroom there. We were there for a number of years, and then we were forced into moving. We became a theater on the move. We used to call ourselves, Arena Theater will be in your neighborhood soon, because we were all over Fort Wayne, performing in various hotels and reception halls and the Allen County Fairgrounds, until we finally found our permanent home down on Rock Hill and West Central.
And so it's always been a dinner theater, so all those
Consistently, yes.
all
That's
those
the one thing
venues
that
always had
hasn't
to have a kitchen.
changed. Yes. Yes.
And so what kind of dinner do you serve? Is it always the same sort of
No,
meal?
changes
Do you change it?
with every show. Can I mention the name of the caterer?
Yeah,
Is that possible?
yeah.
It's the Bagel Station, which is one of Fort Wayne's favorite restaurants.
yeah.
And Lisa does an incredible job for us show after show after show.
Yeah, the food is delicious
Yes,
down
she's
there.
been there, I think this is her 5th or 6th season with us. So
It's great. Now, how do you select the performances that you have each season?
there's a playwriting committee comprised mainly of people from the board of directors. I sit on that committee as well. We're always looking for community people to serve in that capacity as well. We're going to start planning our next season very, very soon. So,
and how many shows do you have in a season?
we do 7 shows a season.
That's a nice season, well-rounded. So do you have usually musicals, dramas?
We do. We tend to, with it being dinner theater, you don't want to do anything really too heavy for your patrons. So we tend to go towards comedy, mystery, musicals, those types of things.
And so your Christmas show, tell me about that.
It's called A Christmas Survival Guide.
Sounds like it must be a comedy.
It's a comedy. It's also a musical review, very much in the cabaret style. It does have a bit of a script to it, based on a book called A Christmas Survival Guide, and how the holidays can wear on people with everything that goes on. And so this is sort of a guide to help you get through all the holiday stress.
Is it a modern guide? Is it,
Yes,
today's,
actually it is, yes. Uh-huh.
Today's family issues? And, I think that we often find the humor and the truth of life. So
Yes,
I'm
that's
guessing
true.
that there's a lot of that,
Yes.
in this show. How many actors are in this show?
There is a cast of 7 people.
And did you say it is a cabaret style?
Cabaret
or
style.
So you've got a lot of
so
music
there's,
going
yes,
through.
there's a lot of musical numbers in it, strung together through the brief storylines, through the chapters of the book.
And so what kind of distinguishes this from the other holiday productions that are going on in town?
Well, this is actually a Fort Wayne premiere for us.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is. And this sort of fell into our laps. Carol Howell-Wasson, who is the director of this production, approached myself and the board of directors and said, I've got a great show. I want to direct it. It just came as a package deal for us. All we had to do was pay for the rights. So,
well,
which is great for us because it's always very difficult to find a holiday show that hasn't been done to death or people are tired of seeing. So this is something completely new, something completely original. So
the audition process, how did you choose the performers and how long have you been working on that?
They've been rehearsing, since September. I believe late September, yes. We usually hold our auditions about 7 weeks in advance of the opening night. And so Carol found her musical director and put all that together, held auditions, and was able to cast the show.
And are all of them local performers?
Yes, everybody is local to Fort Wayne.
They usually are, aren't they?
In the community theaters like First Pres, the Civic Arena, yes, most people are actually just local talent.
The performers that you've got, so we've seen them before. Some of them are well known.
The majority of them, actually, yes. Yeah. Carol, John Hartman, Amy Lackey will be very familiar faces to people who have come to Arena before or people who have seen shows at the Civic.
The people who see the show who are intrigued and say, hey, I want to get involved, so how can they get involved at Arena?
There's always information up on our website, www.arenadinnertheater.org. We have our season up there, we have all of our audition dates, all of the information. We're always looking for people to work, not only on stage but backstage, in the light booth, helping us build sets. We have front of house volunteers on the evenings of performances, so I need drink ticket sellers and things like that as well, ushers. So
yeah, that really adds a different dimension to it when you have a dinner theater that you might not be used to in a regular theater.
Yes.
That you have to get that meal served. And how does that work? The performances start at a time?
We start with a cocktail hour. We do have a full bar, full cash bar. That starts at 6:30. Dinner is served at 7 o'clock, then the performances are at 8.
Okay, and so this show runs a couple of hours?
Varies from show to show, but this one should come in probably about 90 minutes.
Is it a family-friendly show? Is this, kids,
yes.
not really kids?
Yeah, there's not, I don't think anything that anyone would find objectionable about this show at all.
So, how many people does Arena seat?
We have 14 tables of 8, so 112 people per performance. We run 4 weekends with this show, and this is the only show of the season that we do 4 weekends, and we also do a Sunday matinee, which we normally don't do with the rest of our shows.
Oh, so that's a little nice afternoon holiday treat.
Yes, yeah.
So what's the meal going to be for this show? Is it the same each time?
You've caught me off guard because I don't really know. Lisa has supplied me with a menu, but I don't know it off the top of my head for this show.
So do you do any corporate parties?
We have the capabilities of doing that.
So if somebody wants to bring their company to a show,
yes, they can email us through our website or call the box office and contact us that way as well.
Excellent. So A Christmas Survival Guide, the show itself with the narration and the songs, what will people find, most appealing, about that?
I think it's pretty universal. This storyline, what there is of it. It's funny. There are a couple of songs that are incredibly touching. It's just a nice sort of salute to the holiday and the commonalities that everybody goes through dealing with at Christmas and New Year's and
seeing family again, and
yes,
that sort of thing, and all the good feelings and sometimes trepidation, that goes with that. So when does this show start?
The show opens on November the 23rd, the Friday after Thanksgiving, and then runs through December the 15th.
So besides this great show coming up, tell me about the rest of your season.
We have auditions actually coming up, since you were asking about how people could get involved, on November the 25th and the 26th at 7 p.m. That's a Sunday and a Monday evening for our next production, which is a comedy, again, a foreign premiere called Almost Maine.
Almost Maine.
It's a lovely, lovely show. It's one of the ones I'm incredibly excited about.
And what's that about?
It's all set in a town called Almost, Maine. Each scene involves different people. So there you have the potential to have, like, 4 people play a huge variety of roles. And it's just lovely. Each one is a love story, so it's a perfect time, to do this leading up to Valentine's Day.
And how many people are in that show?
Well, you can use that's up to the director, who will be Todd Freimeyer. It's written for 4 people.
Okay.
You can cast as many as you'd like, actually, just depending on how many people show up.
And then what's coming up after
that is Boeing Boeing, which is a lovely farce. Plaza Suite by Neil Simon follows that. And then Romantic Comedy by Bernard Slade rounds out our season.
And what's that?
Romantic Comedy is actually a very funny love story that's was originally done on Broadway in the 80s. But it's a lovely show about a playwright and his female partner, and their relationship working together, and then in the course of all of this falling in love. So.
Wow. Lots of light and fun.
Yes.
At the Arena Dinner Theater.
That's what we strive for.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm Melinda Haines with the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. The next Arts Weekly is all about musical diversity. We'll meet Jason Markson and Dan Swartz, who will tell us all about Fort Wayne's first Fringe Festival happening in January. Then Tim Zimmerman will be on hand to discuss his King's Brass Christmas concert coming up in Fort Wayne December 1st. For up-to-the-minute arts updates, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and be sure to join us here Thursday evenings at 7:30 on PBS 39.
The preceding program on PBS 39 was made possible in part by
Excellence lives here in northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.